people might say there's a lot to be said for Meghan Markle keeping out of the United Kingdom. She knows that her popularity is at an all-time low, and more importantly, there's not many people over here, some might say, that would wish to see her. Of course, there's always fans, everybody knows that. But the other side of the coin is a recent visit from her husband, the former royal known as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, to attend a family funeral. Well, this has now created another fine mess. As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you today. Thank you so much as ever for your time, and as ever, thank you for being supportive of the videos and the channel. I'm so glad when people ask me or see me on the street, as I know many of you do, and say, "Oh Neil, you're busy again." It's lovely, you know, because obviously it's good to get feedback. And I love the fact that you're very honest about the certain things and the stories, and particularly when we're talking about nostalgia and things. The one about the food and all the foods that you now don't see and buy. It's true that, isn't it? You know, people suddenly think they're embarrassing, whereas I just thought they filled you up and they were rather tasty. By the way, corned beef hash, do you put brown sauce on it? Have you tried that? Oh, that's delicious. Yes, do you remember that? Oh, delicious. Brown sauce and gravy. Oh gosh, start dribbling at this rate. Back as ever to your royal story of the day. Some people might say that, of course, Prince Harry is a little bit like the thin one out of Laurel and Hardy. Mistake after mistake after mistake. And, you know, the bottom line was he recently pointed out, did he not, that, of course, he and his wife did not feel safe inside the United Kingdom, even openly discussing it once again on the tabloid tales thing for ITV. You know, the programme where he sat down with that particular lady and basically said that London was so unsafe because he just took one rogue person. I mean, basically inviting one rogue person to be an absolute lunatic. And there's many of those, let me tell you, over here right now in London. After the Notting Hill Carnival, we'll just leave it there. But what is interesting is this, because as he goes against his father's majesty's government, all about securing full security for him, and more importantly for his wife, the Duchess of Sussex, things are taking a turn nastily for the worst. You see, I've told you before that the bottom line with a situation like this is you have to really justify really why you suddenly need so much security. And they made an absolute faux pas in their Netflix series because they faked up all of those paparazzis chasing them. They faked the car chase in New York. And then suddenly you realize, well, really, are you that noticeable? Well, earlier this week, as I pointed out, Harry attended a very private family funeral up in Norfolk. Now, nobody knew he was arriving here. Nobody knew when he left. It was that gracefully done. And one might suggest, of course, without all the outriders and the flankers from the Met Police, would you really need all this security? And this is now what's going to be brought up and used in the forthcoming case. He has made it virtually almost impossible to put his case forward to say why he would need such security. You see, the other side of the coin is, if he can slip into the country unnoticed, why can't he and his wife do the same thing? Well, that could be the fact that certain people tip off the paparazzi ahead of their arrival. I'm not suggesting this is Meghan Markle for one moment, but somebody does each and every time they arrive, or she's been back at least. And what's interesting now is Harry's going to have to defend this rather strange decision that he undertook. Obviously, he did it because he wanted to pay his respects to the late Robert Fellows. But in doing so, he's now truthfully exposed the fact that he could go back and forth from his home in California and return back to the United Kingdom while staying under the private protection of Scotland Yard and the British Metropolitan Police with free accommodation in Buckingham Palace. So their question would be, if you can do it once, why can't you do it every single time? And this is now going to be the major dilemma that's facing Harry upon that forthcoming hearing. Either way, the lawyer is going to have a very tough time. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.